eventually we were like, right, well, we know that guy called Tom Hall. We know he wants to start trading. Why don't we give him a big base with people in it already? We need to, quote-unquote, do a Sopranos-esque whacking on Jimmy, not because he's a bad guy, just because he wasn't the guy that we could puppet. And we were like, right, he's going to go, we're going to put Tom in. Maybe a week before we actually go through with getting rid of him, he suspiciously dies, and some other guys had killed him to try and do what we were trying to do. And yeah, me and Mike went over there, and we walk in, we meet the guys, and they're like, yeah, I don't know, man, like some dude just shot Jimmy and ran off, and it was like, that doesn't sound like Jimmy. Did Jimmy ever mention us, by the way? And he goes, who are you guys? It's like, oh, I'm Henry, this is Mike, we're a group called Moravians, we've worked with him quite a lot, we helped build this place. And he goes, yeah, he just never said anything. And at that moment, his RP brother was looking through the window in what was supposed to be a private conversation with Jimmy's M4 on his back. And I knew it was Jimmy's because it was supposed to be mine. It was an agreement we had that I helped build the thing in exchange for an M4. And I was like, right, well, it's got the same attachments. It's sprayed in a specific way, all this sort of stuff. We leave the compound, and Mike's just like, yeah, they did that shit. They absolutely did that shit. Eventually, we got more or less an admission that, yeah, they did kill Jimmy how we thought that they did. But that's when we kind of took a step back from that for a minute. We were like, right, well, we heard a rumor about a hit getting put on us by the Vanguard. We thought, well, you know, people chat shit all the time. They chat shit on the radios, and I don't know. Blake was the second-hand man, I think it was. I'm not quite sure.
Right.
We went over, Mike and I, we thought, I wonder if we could get away with using different names and pretending to be different people. Because we hadn't been there for weeks, and we thought, look, we're insignificant, right? The last time we saw these guys, we were just outside of their base getting laughed at. Like, they'll have forgotten who we were. And we go to the front gate, and it's like, hi, I'm Waylon, and this is Willie. We're kind of looking for a group at the moment. We heard that you guys might be a group that's important in the area, and we'd like to help you out and all that sort of stuff. Not like that, but more of the bullshit yarn spinning way. And I think it's Blake on the gate who's talking to us. He's like, yeah, man, yeah. And Jack runs up and he goes, who the fuck is this? Who the fuck are you guys? Oh, you're those guys. It's like, I have no idea who you are. I've never been here before in my life. And it's like, you keep making those fucking posters about us and saying all this shit about us. Fucking get out of here before I shoot you. And Mike laughs. I have this clipped because unfortunately there was some meta. Like, we never mentioned the posters outside of just our three group. And we knew for a fact that, look, we know who can see who's submitting posters and all that sort of stuff. It was a whole thing that, whatever, it kind of soiled it a little bit, but if Mike laughs when Jack says something to him, and Blake goes, you won't laugh in the face of like the commander or something like that. And we both start laughing, and they all pull guns out, and they're just like, oh, fuck off, or we'll shoot you, you've got 10 seconds, and we're just like, alright, cool, that didn't work, you just keep digging the hole deeper, let's go back and make more posters and say more shit, and see what we can do. I think this was just before the CDC got taken over, yeah, and things were gearing up to move against Vanguard. The Oasis had started to get built by now, the big trading post in between Sapridno and Novaya, which we helped Tom build. I didn't help as much. I think I put like some walls down. And I should mention, by the way, as much as we haven't officially agreed on it, Tom is an unofficial Moravian at the very least. He was hip on those ideas. He knew what was going on. And So the Oasis had come about. We'd heard more about bounties. Even Tom had said something about a bounty on us. We were like, right, we need to try and get rid of um, these guys now. It's gone beyond the point that we can bullshit it. We can't get in there and get friendly and all that sort of stuff. And what I'd been doing for weeks up to that point was going to every group I could find and hoping that they hadn't interacted with the Vanguard, because this was when the rumors about cannibals around Electro was going on. This was also when Jimmy's Killers had gone on the run, and I heard about them down south. So I went down to Electro and met the Electro PD when they were in full swing. And I was like, look, one, Jimmy's dead, not because of some random dude. It was this guy that did it, and as far as I know, they've changed their name, all that sort of stuff. And then the second thing was, look, these Vanguard guys, nah, gotta get rid of them, man. I can't remember the reasoning I gave, but I think I'd lied to them and was like saying something just to get them to get on side. And I think they had a contentious point where they had spoken to Vanguard, and Vanguard was offering to help them with the cannibal problem, and so it was beneficial for them to work with them. But there was a window of time where I think Blake was supposed to go to a meeting with PD, and it was very nearly supposed to be a murder. It's very, very close to meeting someone in the school when that meeting was going on and trapping them. But we were just like, no, fuck it, can't be done with it. Around the same time, the guys from Lonely Roads come in and set up in their own apartment. So that's like an extra, 15, 20 people in a fucking group.
Wow.
And I think I'd spent 4 or 5 days with the PD, getting to know everyone, and that's where I met Ava and all those guys. And at that point, we were like, right, we know enough people that we could try and band people together for an assault on Vanguard. Just to get rid of it. And I spent like 2 hours looking at maps, and I did it again later on in the iteration, but I went into a ticket and got permission to have people in a group on Zello so that they could see the steps of the plan that I'd drawn out and written out, and I clipped the whole thing of sat there with a map in game going, okay, you're this team, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, this team's going to be watching the open field on the eastern side. And one of the big developments for Henry as a character was this whole half-joking thing about conviction, having conviction and showing and leading with example and all that sort of stuff. We'd never discussed a leader, it was just that I was the front-facing guy that was going to all these groups, so it appeared as though I was leading that group. And I had a moment while planning it where I was like, okay, these people only know me. They're going off the promise that I'm from a bigger group. They seem to like me well enough. I can't ask another, like, I think it was 9 people on top of us 3 to attack a base and sit there on the edge. I was in a big dilemma because all the leadership and like radio guys had died in the Long Barn battle, and Henry as a character was fucked up from that battle, from seeing people get shot and all that sort of stuff. And so there was one entry point that we decided, and we split off the whole compound by numbered sections to hold like certain strong points and then move in at certain points, and we got the plan down really well. And the most dangerous point was the one where I think I was discussing it with Mike in game, where it was like, we have to do this. We can't be the guys doing the sniping. We can't be the guys on the north side that are harassing. We have to be the first ones through, because we're asking everyone else to take part in this for us. And not to mention, we've bullshit about half the stuff that's bad about these guys. We've made posters for weeks. We've started filling crates of potatoes because Jack was an Irishman and we thought it'd be really funny to leave crates of potatoes outside their base. And we were like, fuck it.
It is, for the record, it is.
Yes, it absolutely is. I will never be against the fact that that's very funny.
Yep. Love
And
potatoes.
I mean, John Grammaticus had a tent full of potatoes, and it
Mm.
remained there for the rest of the iteration. He had days where he was just farming potatoes solely for the purpose to leave crates of them outside of their base. But we had this we had this moment looking at the map of kicking the door in. It's like we have to do this to give that example to people and not have people go, well, why the fuck am I doing this if this guy's asking us to do it? And what do we know about him? Blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was the day before we were about to go where we get a radio, or we hear on the general radio where someone's like, oh yeah, Vanguard got taken out. Like, what? The fuck? And we run to an Ada, we get in and drive all the way to Vibor, and as we go into Vibor, guns out, like, we're like, shit, this is going to be a fucking mess, because no one knows who we are, and we're probably going to get shot. There's a woman that runs down the street as we come into Vibor, and she's like, hey, don't shoot me, whatever, I've got nothing to do with this. We're like, you're not Vanguard, are you? She goes, no, I'm just getting away. And, sorry. We get up and we see that it's this new group of guys that came in from Lonely Roads. I can't remember do you remember their group name?
Ah, the Nomads.
Nomads?
The Nomads, that was it. The Nomads
Yeah.
had come in and heard all the shit about Vanguard. And to my perception, it was that here was something people were talking about. It was rumbling that was going on. They're a new group. People didn't know. They wanted something to prove that they were a big group that could get shit done. And they went off and killed everyone in there. I got a piece of Jack and I got his armband
Good
because
God.
I showed up to the gate and I was like, "Show me the fucking body," because we'd fucked with that crazy guy that died in the castle with the CDC. We had for weeks fucked with the whole thing that he had about this Angie person. So we started making. I drew a picture of a tree with a carving in it that was Angie plus Jack. And I didn't say, oh, this is Jack from Vibor, it's just Jack. And we're running through a field once, Rex runs up to us, who was the guy. And he's like, some fucking dude called Jack's carved his name in a tree with Angie. I'm fucking mad about it, I'm going to go kill him. We're like, look man, don't do anything drastic. As we walk away, Mike goes, hey, isn't there a Jack in Vanguard? And he goes, I'm going to Vibor. And he runs off. He comes back like 2 hours later, and he goes, I killed him. I'm like, what? He goes, I killed that Jack guy. Just shot him in the face. It's like,
That was
oh,
Red
shit.
at the time.
That was
Wasn't
Red,
it?
yeah. No, it was Rex.
No.
This was the first time that he killed Jack.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jack died, I think, and because of the way the interaction had happened, he didn't have to perma.
Oh.
But we didn't know this for ages. I didn't know until after we thought he was lying about going over there because there was no
He
there was no
wasn't dead.
perma, and we had no rumor that he was actually dead and all of that. Eventually, I think Red doing it later on was his own motivation, but I'm sure that somewhere rumors helped the sentiment against it. And yeah, so we'd had this times before where we thought we'd been successful in pushing someone into killing someone else for us, and this was like the time where we weren't really good with that. So I show up to the front gate of Vanguard and I'm like, fucking show me the body. Where is he? It's like, oh, we already cut him up. He's in a bag by the front door. I think they threw the bag over and was like, there he is. I'm like, can I take a bit and a green armband? They're like, yeah, sure, fuck it. And that was that. And then we were kind of like, well, shit. Vanguard's gone. We can focus on the north now. Then those cannibals from Electro move up, take out the CDC, and it's like, shit. We thought that we should have maybe dealt with it when PD mentioned it, but time and being able to schedule that properly and even attempt to try and fix that problem was a mess at the time. At which point we get to work. We try to get these groups together, and everyone from the old Northern Alliance had basically separated at that point. Like Epsilon was offline most of the time, and it was hard to get in touch with most people. So things were quite melancholy for quite a while. People started getting taken out by the cannibals every now and then.
I'd moved into Oasis at this point as well.
You had,
Yeah.
but I don't think I had met you properly. I'd heard about a woman hiding in the woods with a Vanguard member. I think I might have told you
Oh.
this once. This was when we were trying to get into Vanguard,
Right.
and we didn't know everything about the scenario at the time, but we were like, okay, we knew fuck. It was
Wyla?
Aaron's character,
Oh.
the priest. It wasn't Colton's priest. It
Father
was
Joseph.
Father Joseph.
Mm.
We heard through Father Joseph that he knew someone running from the Vanguard, and that a Vanguard member was helping them. And we were like, right, we could use that Vanguard member, but we need to make sure that he has no way to operate against us, and that he will more or less be too afraid to do it. The plan was to convince Father Joseph to meet with this woman, show up, hold the Vanguard guy and the woman up, and kill the woman in front of the Vanguard guy.
Holy
Just
crap.
flat out show up, Negan the fuck out of it. Like we were like,
Jesus.
we've got to be brutal with this. We can't be mincing
Bastards.
anything about it. Yeah,
God.
and it was like, if we just show up, kill the woman, and say, fucking do this, or you're dead and your group's dead. We never got to do it, but that was just another plan that we
That's
had. That
hilarious.
didn't work out.
Oh my god. I
I
can't
had
believe
a-
I'm the woman from a plan of yours from fucking
Well,
months ago.
Yeah, there's loads of people that were weirdly woven into plans. Like the
Yeah.
day before Vanguard got raided, we needed a reason to raid, right? And I had this light bulb idea that was really stupid. I had heard this shit about the bounty, and I was like, okay. I sit down with Mike, I sit down with John, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to Vanguard. Like, right, okay. I'm gonna go to Vanguard without weapons. I'm gonna show up to the front gate unarmed and just say I'm here. What's up? Blah 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 blah. We reasoned that nobody had any legitimate reason to know the posters or the rumors were us. We knew that much, and that we hadn't physically done anything to them. They couldn't prove anything physical that we'd done. So I wanted to go in, accept what was going to happen, and it was either going to end that I'd get executed, and that would give the group we'd put together reason to raid, or I was going to walk out, and it would just help the misinformation to call Vanguard bitches. Because the dude that they were chatting shit about on the radio showed up, and they didn't do anything, was the plan, and then they got raided, and that was like Henry's like maybe second moment of, I should be dead right now and I'm not. It got really brutally depressing the more the
Cheating
days went
death.
on. Yeah. Well, yeah. See, Henry never got kidnapped. He never got held up. Apart from like the second day, someone tried to rob my Mosin from me, and I got away. And so it became a recurring theme with Henry doing shit that should have got him killed, and then just somehow not getting killed. So.
Because you're a sneaky bastard is why.
Yeah.
Fucking underhanded shit, man. Psyops is right. Holy crap.
We
Fucking hell.
we got to I actually Father Josiah, I met him while I was down with PD while he was building his church, and I had an arrangement with him. I don't think he'll remember this. I had an arrangement with him that if I died, I was to be buried in the graveyard plot of the church, and that he was to bury me. I like pulled him to the side. I was like, you don't know me, but in the back of my head, it's like, I've survived a fucking battle. I've seen people die. Everyone's getting fucking killed around me, and I speak to people one day and then they get killed by a bandit the next. I need to know that I'm going to be buried here, and I need to make sure you'll do it. He's like, yeah, that's fine. Shit of killing himself outside the castle. Fucking, I had no clue about that. That was like, all
That
round applause for that shit.
Yeah, I think it was masterful, to be honest.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that moment,
Mm.
absolutely.
And that's when the uh, just to as a what's the word? Like a detour from the plot.
Hmm.
Um, I hear about a pair of brothers that have surfaced in Cherno around McCarthy's bar, and I'm like,
Was that
right.
Q?
So the two
Q and
guys I think killed Jimmy just died in a car crash supposedly,
Hmm.
and now two brothers have apparently shown up at McCarthy's pub. I was like, right, well, I'm gonna go down and have a look. Uh, I never got down there because one of them um, had died. I don't remember how he died, but one of them had died. It's like, right, shit, I'm on a clock now because the other one's probably gonna die as well.
Hey, I think they ended up killing somebody there. One of the McCarthys.
Yeah, I think that might have been it.
Led to their death. I think that's what happened. 'Cause it was so
Yeah.
fast at that place. It was like 20 people in and out every day.
Mm,
It was hard
mm.
to keep up.
And I think this was when this is another side note that loops around. When the Vanguard got taken out, we went down there for the first time, and we were like, "Hey, let's go see what that bar's like and celebrate, right? Because hey, this thing's out of the way." We get there, and the woman that was leaving Vibor shows up there,
Hmm.
and we're like, "Oh, it's you! What's your name?" I think it was Ellie,
Hmm.
and she was like, "Yeah, I got let go from Vanguard." And I'm there with like a bottle of vodka in my hand, being like, "Fuck the Vanguard," chatting to her. I was like, "Man, this must be really awkward for you right now." She's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, this is shit." It's like, of all the places you went to the celebration of the group you were with getting fucking wiped
Yeah.
out. She
Oh.
goes off
Fuck.
and does that whole thing. I think she like RP'd that she killed herself but didn't, and that she survived a passage of a bullet through her head.
Yeah.
And so then the rumblings come by of everybody starts to look at the cannibals, and everyone's like, right, the next logical thing that's going to happen is people are going to raid the CDC. In actual fact, you should really speak to Tom Hall about that, the whole raid, because holy shit,
It's on the
yeah, really. I won't spoil it for him because man. But we thought, right, next logical step, the castle's going to get wiped out, and then we thought there'll be a vacuum and people will be fighting over who gets control of the castle. That was our main concern because we thought, right, this is going to fuck up the north and people are going to start infighting for it. We had no interest in it. We just wanted to make sure that whoever went in it wasn't going to cause all the problems.
Mm.
And that's when we start hearing about the vigil for Father Joseph. We're like, right, well,
Yeah.
this is clearly a front for everybody to meet up, right? We're gonna go, and then we're like, shit, where's Tom? Like, anyone seen Tom? It's like, oh yeah, he went up to the castle and no one's seen him for like
Oh.
2 days. And then he starts
Yeah.
saying shit on the radio. We're like,
Yeah.
fuck, Tom's been kidnapped. What the fuck? And I get told, I think by Ava, that who was from the PD, that the brother that I was looking for that was still left um, was going to that vigil. I was like,
Mm.
right. I'd been taunting him with posters. I wrote out like a third of the lyrics to Big Iron and posted them up and put his name on it.
I remember
Um,
that. Holy shit.
yeah, I started really trying to fuck with him. And I said to Mike, I got a second revolver, and I was like, this is gonna be my showdown moment. I don't give a fuck anymore. I just want to do shit because I'm doing shit. And what I
Mm.
was going to do was find him and give him the revolver and just be like, fucking duel me right now. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've done. Admit to me you're this person. If you kill me, walk away. If I kill you, it's done. That was the whole plan when we got to that vigil. We got
Nice.
there, and I think then Ava was like, no, I didn't know, but he never showed.
Mm.
That was the big rally with Coulter.
The assault.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but by the way, it freaks me out. Like even when I saw the title of last podcast, when it says with Coulter Wall, because Coulter
Mm.
Wall's a musician that I listen to, and I'm assuming
Ah.
obviously is the reasoning for his name. And so every time
Ah.
I see it on something, I'm like, wait, what? It's a podcast
We
of
get the
Coulter
big
Wall.
time guests.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Big guest.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get famous country music singer, and then some twat on the internet that spends way too much time on DayZ. And
Oh.
It's a hard follow-up.
well, you know,
The
we
famous musician.
we show up to the whole thing, and Coulter does his speech in his Colonel Sanders outfit, which we thought was very funny. We thought the white suit was hilarious. But yeah,
He looked dapper as fuck.
that whole thing happens, and John's at the front, and we're like, so it's been like 5 minutes now. What about Tom? And Tom's screaming on the radio, getting his fingers cut off, and John's just like, say something about Tom, for fuck's sake. Tom Hall got kidnapped. He starts shouting around the group. And we're just like, yeah, fuck's sake, what about Tom? Ben comes up. I'm pretty sure Patrick comes up, and we're all shouting about Tom. And it's like, fuck, let's just go, man. We know what we're here to do. Let's fucking go. Now, PS5s were hard to get at the time, right? God fucking damn it. 35 fucking people, and 25 of them have priority queue. Servers full.
Madness.
We got put in assault groups because we had plate carriers. We were supposed to go on the front gate, and me and Mike, our games crash. And it's like, fuck, now we're spending like 50 minutes to get into the server. By the time we got in, the first wave was done. So John had gone off in the first wave and died. I remember we went up to the front of the castle, and we looked over, and it's just like, oh, there's John's red coat. We all wore red-coated jackets.
Yeah,
Kind
I
of
remember.
funny.
I
And then we were
imagined
just,
that
yeah.
night.
Man, it was painful. It was just like,
It did
no,
hurt.
no.
Yeah.
And we defaulted to what we did at the Long Barn battle. It was like, right, there's going to be people separated and people run off. Let's go around, let's grab enough people, and bring them somewhere else. And we started to grab people from out the woods that were hiding, and Robin was up there in the castle, and we met with him, and we took them to a house that a group on the south had. And I think it was some of the McCarthys were in the house, and a guy turns around, he's like, where the fuck were you red jacket guys? And me and Mike are just like, stunned. We're like, our guy was on the front, he's laying dead right up there, and we obviously can't say that we blue screened. But it was just like heartbreaking to have somebody angry because obviously everyone lost someone. That was a huge amount of people. It was like 15, 16 people died.
That's insane. Yeah.
And me and Mike did some other stuff after that, but the event itself was kind of a mess. So naturally, with big events like that, and so it was inconsequential. But Tom was still stuck in the tower. Loads of people were dead, and people were licking their wounds outside. And some people wanted to keep fighting, and others were like, "Fuck it, it's lost," and all that sort of shit.
Yeah,
I was
pretty
gonna
sure
ask-
didn't the McCarthys start fighting with somebody else as well?
Started
Yeah.
fighting with the nomads. But what
Yeah,
happened?
that was it, right? Yeah.
What was there ever like a plan between you or anybody? Like, let's try to attack this place again? Because I knew you were just talking about it, but I always wondered why there wasn't a second attack on the Devil's Castle.
So, yeah, Wyler was part of a second wave, if you will. We
Secret
after
plan.
everybody had died, there was like a vacuum, a really depressing vacuum of like, well, shit, you know, that many people died. We lost a lot of people. Let's
And a
just
lot of
try
them
and
weren't
focus.
coming back as well because near
That's
the end
it.
of the iteration, everybody
Yeah.
was like, "Fuck it."
Yeah,
So
that
people really
killed-
were gone. Like
that did
there,
kill
But
the whole
we-
place was so empty and so weird.
This was near the peak of the Oasis, right?
Yeah.
And Tom had an off-site stash of like every gun you can imagine. Just thousands of rounds of ammunition, hundreds of grenades, like stupid amounts of equipment. I'll probably get this wrong, but it was, I believe, Borsch, Weiler, and I sat in a tent in the Oasis, and I think we all mentioned about how something needs to happen at Devil's Castle, and we need to make a push while the momentum is still somewhat there before people get too comfortable without it. And it went from, why don't we round up the rest of the groups, to, if we include all these other groups while the Nomads and McCarthys are fighting, this is going to be a clusterfuck, and it's not going to be focused. What we need is a smaller group of people. And
Strike
so,
team.
that was it. It was Colin from Northern Rock, Mike Oxlong, me, Catalina,
Yay.
Tom Hall, I can't remember Aaron, Blevin.
Levin
uh,
was there, yeah. And
and
Patrick
Patrick.
ended up staying there,
Patrick joined last minute, because he just kind of showed up. I did
showed
the
up to
whole
the meeting
planning
in
thing again.
Kat's house.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
same thing I'd done for Vanguard, I did for Devil's Castle. So I got all the
Yeah.
map things, noted it all down. I was like, right, here's a plan with just us, like, what, 6 people?
About 6, maybe 7
Yeah,
tops.
something like that.
Well,
And Patrick comes down the road.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like,
He was
hey man,
sneaky.
I like you. Want to go on a suicide mission? It's like, fuck yeah, dude. My guy was totally in for
fully
it.
thought we were going to die. We were
Well, that's
fully
it.
prepared to die.
Wasn't Catalina
Uh,
supposed to be like an inside, maybe try to get inside there because she was a cannibal? I thought I remember.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
It was a kind of a thing like that. So me and Tom were going to assault the front of the castle. Assault, quote unquote. We were going to try and distract them and talk to them, and try and convince them on the merits of what Henry likes to call post-mortem cannibalism, but what is actually known by everybody who matters as the way of El Gato.
Yes,
And
of
that shall
course.
be known through history, right? Okay. But we were going to get them to talk at the front.
Who's El
Give them
Gato?
5 minutes to talk, see how they reacted, maybe even potentially. I don't think the idea was ever to let them try and come and live in the Oasis or anything.
No.
No, I would have liked, and I probably would have tried to convince people of a little bit of that, at least like to have them
Oh
like
my
living in a
God.
jail, like a zoo type
Can you
thing.
imagine
Yeah.
if all the cannibals had moved over to the Oasis?
Just a cage in the front field of the Oasis.
Yeah,
just with
a
them in it, and
Negan
just
from The
enough to
Walking
live.
Dead. Should live in a basement.
Right.
Keep them in there for a while until they prove they can be good.
Everybody
Anyway,
walks by throwing tomatoes at him.
but Henry
Fuck
and the guys
you, Johnny.
were gonna. Henry and the guys were gonna try and assault the back of the castle if shit didn't go down within the 5 minutes anyway. So so they were prepared with all their grenades. They knew their entry route. They knew like the plan. Once we got inside, there was diagrams. It was fantastic.
I mean,
really good.
I'm sure you remember, we have a picture that we took.
Yeah.
So it was the hunting cabin right outside of Devil's Castle. Tom had turned it into a forward operating base. He put all the equipment in it. We went up, geared up. And usually everyone's talking, right? We got in the comfortable thing of talking in a circle around a fire for ages. We got in there, geared up, and we all sat down, and it was like silent. Because I stressed when we did the briefing at Catalina's other home, we're not coming back from this. It's either we somehow get through everyone in that castle, or we all die today. The main objective wasn't that we were doing a second wave, it was that we were getting rid of enough cannibals so that when a second wave did happen, they didn't have the resistance they had before. And me and Mike, like, having just lost John, we were like, fuck it. This is something John would want to do, and let's go for it. But I remember we were sat in there, and it was like, this is it, man. We're going today. So we took this picture of all of us, and it's just like, yeah, I love that picture, and to anybody else it just looks like standard group photo, but the context behind it is like, this is a picture that's going to be found on the inside pocket of a fucking corpse when this is over, and some cannibal's going to go, huh, look at these assholes, and throw it away, right? in the end, we
Damn.
waited out there for what, like, I think an hour or something, maybe a little over an hour, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
We
No.
Was
we
it a
couldn't
matter
do
We
it.
of
did.
people not being quote unquote awake at the time,
Well,
or
Yeah.
just
it was
luck?
Well,
kind of our fault, uh, or at
was
least it was
it?
kind of me and Mike's fault.
That's better.
S- See, a couple of days before, Mike and I were getting annoyed by the infighting going on around these different groups. The war with nomads and McCarthy's was happening. People were killing each other at the Oasis. It was something we expected, but we thought that people would stay on with the whole cannibal thing. This is where we got frustrated enough to say, let's do a suicide mission. But before that, uh, Mike and I are incredibly patient, I think is the best way to describe it. Um, Mike, I think, sat watching the Vanguard base for like 3.5 hours one time,
Mm.
just to see who was coming and going and if he could make any sense of it. Um, and we went up to Devil's Castle to try and see what the numbers were idly of the cannibals. We go up there, we sit there for like 2 hours in ghillie suits at the front, and we're like, okay, it's not going to happen. We log off for the night. The next day we do the same. About 2.5 hours, we're with Ben, the only recruited member of the Moravians since day one,
Hmm.
and we're like, right, fuck it, let's just go, because I can't be done with this. I can't quite remember what we were doing, but we were up at Catalina's other place. I think we were just seeing if you were in. And then I get the radio from Ben, who had gone back to the Oasis, going, "Hey, we've seen, because cannibals had been watching the Oasis for a couple of days, and he was like, hey, we've seen a couple of guys running on a railroad track heading, I think it was east, um, away from the Oasis. One of them is dressed in all brown. We think it might be Johnny." We were like,
Mm.
oh shit, we've got to get the fuck back. Because we thought, right, look, even if we don't do anything, we'll get an ID and we'll know what they look like. We'll see how many people move in a group at one time. Maybe we can catch them out when they're out and about. So the most logical place for us to do that was by their front door. And then it turned into, well, okay, why don't we do better than that? Why don't we hold them up? Okay, well, sure. How are we going to hold up a group of maybe three that we thought at the time with just the three of us? You need more numbers to intimidate. Um, Ben brings a friend with him, so there's four of us, and then we were like, right, someone's got to be the factor here. Like, someone's got to be the dude that they see and interact with, so we can jump out when they don't think about it. And we thought about asking Borsch. We thought about asking just about everyone, and we were like, no, 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 it wouldn't work. We need someone that's believably stupid enough to be there.
Mm.
There was an old man that was running a fish and chip shop that was a fucking idiot, hanging around the Oasis. um, and we were like, right, well, I don't know him. I've just talked to him maybe one time about how he was a World War II vet or something, and Mike was like, I've never spoken to him. And Ben's like, yeah, I know the guy. I've got his radio. I'm like, right, well, give him a radio and tell him we need him for something. We need you to come up. I think it was like, give us some fish or something. We want fish and chips. We're just sat here hungry in the cold or something. Come up to Devil's Castle. He's like, there's
Feed
loads
me.
of cannibals around there, lad. It's like, yeah, there is. We're aware. It's going to be a bit risky, but we'll pay you extra for the delivery. And it's like, yeah, sure. Guy comes up and be like, look, I need you to do something you're not going to like. He's like, okay. What, you're not going to be against us at all. He's like, no? What do you want me to do? I was like, I need you to stand by that front gate and not move and just wait. And when people come, waste time. Just waste time. All we wanted was for them to show up and think it was somebody scoping out their base, and then just go, oh, it's just a fucking idiot that doesn't know what this place is. He's like, oh, well, I'm really worried now. I don't know if I'm gonna make it, and I'd rather not die. Thanks. Maybe I should go. I'm like, no, please, just stay. We'll pay you even more or whatever.
Try to sell the cannibals some fish. Just work something.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Work something
Anything.
there.
It was literally anything to get their attention long enough that they were focused on that front gate, so we can run out and just be like, look, put your fucking guns on the floor, all this sort of shit. Maybe we waited there for another 2 hours. I'm in a ghillie suit at the foot of the hill, straight down from the front gate. I'm looking at my phone for like 5 seconds, and I hear. I look up, and it's a dude runs like maybe within 5 meters of me, just sprints straight past me,
Oh.
and I follow him with the scope. I've got the clip of it. I follow him with the scope, follow him up, and I see this guy dressed in all brown is aiming a gun at the fish and chip guy who's on the floor.
Mm.
I'm like, oh, fuck. In literally like 5 seconds that I wasn't paying attention, that happens. So I think, right, guy in all brown, gotta be the guy I'm after. Bang. Kill him.
Right.
I miss the guy that I followed with the scope. Maybe like pixels off. The most heartbreaking shot I've ever taken. Turns out it wasn't Johnny. It was Milos, I think it was, who's Lektarg's character. I think they'd switched clothes, and it wasn't intentional. It was just that the clothes that Johnny was wearing were now the clothes that Lektarg was wearing, and so that's where the mistaken identity had come from. The person that I just missed, who'd run past me, was Botzilla, Johnny's brother. It was like, fuck, I didn't know this for a long time, but when I found out, I was like, why did I go for the other one if I'd have just gone for a thingy? So from our perspective, it was just 2 of them on the front gate, and I immediately, after missing the second shot, I was like, right, I'm out. I'm gone. No one needs to see me. No one ever saw me, which was mad. I thought, right, surely I'm going to get shot or die here, but no. There was a ticket about it, obviously, because of it really got like shady with the details, and it came into question as to whether or not it was roleplay. Yeah, it was quite stressful for about a day.
Yeah.
Because Mike and I had spent so much time waiting, and we were just like, if we've got to stay here 10 more minutes, just 10 more minutes, and all that sort of shit. And when it worked out, we were like, fucking hell, because there was no nameplate. You know how when you kill someone, if they sit on the menu and don't respawn, their nameplate's still on their body. Well, obviously, by the time I'd gone up to the body of the guy in brown, there was nothing. So in my head, I was like, I just killed Johnny. I just fucking did it. We're gone. Like, we've got to go now. It wasn't 2, it was like 6, I think, that were there. We didn't get trapped somehow. Just weird luck. So yeah, we get out. Fast forward to waiting outside with the suicide attack. The reason why nothing went down was because of the grey nature, should I say, of that event. It kind of disheartened people. No one had really killed cannibals up to that point, and so we were kind of like, right, let's fucking do it. And we kept at it, and finally did it, and I can see how it's disheartening, and I know how disappointing it must have felt. And so, people weren't as motivated to play, and so we just kind of went, right, raid's not going to happen, let's just pack it up and go. Which was like the final time that Henry was kind of, I really should be dead now. I set a date to die, and I still didn't die. It just got fucking mental. Like, Floor Bacon had just died. Arthur. Like, that was just after that.
Rip,
and,
Mr. Fish
yeah.
Tank.
Well,
will be missed.
Is that where that song came from? That you would say?
Yeah. I think it was, what was it?
He
It was
was
Jackson
brilliant.
and the Defector from Vanguard, who I still don't trust, you son of a bitch.
I don't like him either. Dolan.
Yeah, I got told about after I saw PD, someone was like, "Hey, a dude from Vanguard's trying to get in touch with you. He's ran away and he wants to speak to Henry about some attack that's going to happen." And I was like, "That's fucking bait. That's a trap. I'm not speaking to that guy." So he went to the Nomads. That's why they did that attack. I eventually spoke to him later, and I had to ask him. I had to be like, "Look, I know that we weren't shit. I know that people didn't care. Did they ever say anything about us?" He's like, "Who are you?" It's like, "Well, we were the Moravians. My name's Henry." He's like, "Fucking Henry! Blah, 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 blah. You left the fucking potatoes outside, didn't you?" It's like, oh, shit.
There was such a big deal about that because we got back from a loot run one day. And there was a crate of potatoes. And I think it was Blake just picked them up and started breaking them in the base. And I was like, hey, whoa. They might have sneezed all over these things. This might be chemical, biological potatoes. And Jack was like, yeah. And he threw the thing outside and was shooting at the box and stuff. And I was like,
You know the best thing? There was another crate behind the corrugated iron shed round the back. You know the one with the blue doors?
Mm-hmm.
We left one round the back of that, and it was still there when we went to see if Vanguard was still alive or not. And it was still there, I think, like 2 weeks after that as well. So every time we went past, we were like, "There's potatoes."
Somebody forgot the gate code to the back gate.
Yeah. Our biggest wish was that we one day find that Jack had eaten one of the potatoes, because our code word / insulting name was Spud Muncher. We were just like, fucking Spud Muncher, blah, 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 blah. Instead of outright, if we were around people we didn't know, it was like, right, we're going to get rid of Spud Muncher. But yeah, so when I met the Defector and I was like, asking him those questions, it was weird to have the moment of, oh yeah, okay, we weren't as insignificant as we thought we were. But yeah, by that time we were focusing on the Oasis, and the Nomads were going crazy. So we were all sat in that house, Catalina, some Nomads, Mike, and Arthur. And Arthur comes in and he goes, "Yeah, I'm giggling now." We're like, "How the fuck? What did you do?" He's like, "Well, I was walking through the woods and I saw some bacon on the floor." No, sorry. He said, "I was walking through the woods. I saw something on the floor that smelled good and I ate it." I was like, when you walk through the woods, you don't see a piece of fucking bacon on the floor and lick it, do you? And we all start taking the piss. And that's when we start calling him floor bacon. That's where the term floor bacon came for human meat. And fucking Lectarg, if you ever listen to this podcast, these two are separate. I have a beef with you, fucker. There was a vote to change the human meat emoji to be called fucking floor bacon. And you went, "No, it's an inside joke at the cannibals." God damn you. How dare you?
Our inside joke is just as valid as yours.
Our inside joke has a fucking song, God damn it.
Yeah, way more valid. Come on, floor bacon.
That's the same. That song.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Last time I played that song, we got murdered in that official server.
Well, you see, what the fuck? So Tulak is a character I'm playing now. I won't go into too much detail about it, but I'd been planning Tulak as a backup in case Henry died, and what it was going to be was a musician. Because I'd been singing around campfires and playing music, and I thought it would be funny. We were running one time to Catalina's second home, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if we wrote like a song about it? And that's where I thought, well, why don't I just write songs about things that have happened and people's stories that I come across? And it's like, well, I'll make a funny song about floor bacon. And then just on the run there, I wrote it down and fucking whatever. And then recorded it because I had nothing better to do at the time. And I believe I'm still at the #1 spot in the Churnerist charts right now. There's no other contenders, so by default, I have the best-selling record in Churnerist as of 1991.
This is true. We're gonna have an open mic night at some point, so
yeah, absolutely.
We gotta get some competitors in here.
That would be cool.
God,
to see,
yeah.
musician character.
I do have